Alright, so resetting the tone. I'm still trying to reset the tone. I'm still trying to reset the tone. But I like these rambling speeches because I'll never have enough time to do the hard work of putting shit together in a different way than just talking about it. I'll never have the time. So I guess part of, because I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I need to step back some to put work into some of the easier things that, like codes I've already broken that I haven't resolved. That I've already broken, I have them 80-90% broken down. But I make all these videos with these things that I've yet to break down. But I like blabbering. I got a gift to gab. But it don't feel like a gift. It feels like I got a curse to gab. You know? But this boy can't stop talking. So I'm going to make an effort to, as I said in previous videos, like, say it more true, right? I'm going to say something true to myself. This is for me. I'm really good at breaking down, as of yet, unbroken codes. Not all of them, but certain specific ones I'm really good at. Really good at. Preternatural. I haven't spoken much about. I mean, a lot. I mean, it's all infused, but not like just blam. And I got a lot of blam, but it's like I spend all my time on like, I don't understand this thing. And that's what I make videos about. Instead of the things that like I know. So today, I had two good ones. The second one I had, which is the first one I'm going to mention, is about King David and his sweet song and the breakdown of that. The symbolic, or a symbolic breakdown over time now. Every breakdown, every symbolic, every philological, every historical, every linguistic, every religious, every scientific breakdown is always a breakdown. And some of them are part of the breakdown. And what I'm saying about this breakdown is it is a breakdown, and it is definitely harmonic with the breakdown. To do with King David. And it's simple. A couple few steps. And that's the thing about the unified theory, right? Like Eric Weinstein the other day, like, I'm really intrigued with this whole like geometric unity type deal. And the whole idea that his brother, this is talking about King David. I associate Eric Weinstein and Brett Weinstein with I associate them now. They don't know me. If they watched this and said, "You are totally wrong," I would be like, I know. Absolutely. Yes, you're right. But and that's all I could. That would be the extent of my entire retort. You know, they could write a book saying this is all the ways that you're wrong. My response would be, yes, but. But anyway, like, I clump erroneously as I categorize everything. You know, Robin Crusoe had his little fucking list. Everything was put in its order. You know, I ain't like that. I put things in wrong categories, right? But I put the wrong things in the wrong categories in the right world sometimes. So please forgive me. I put Eric Weinstein and Brett Weinstein into the quote unquote atheistic Jewish camp. Though they may only be as atheistic as Jordan Peterson is Catholic. But like, I'm not saying they are at all. Perhaps they just have such large, and certainly involved in the endeavors that they're involved in and the way that the world has met them. We're all involved in something so much bigger than ourselves. But I love that these two brothers, good brothers, thank God, not Old Testament, no offense, not Old Testament brothers, so to speak, but New Testament brothers, so to speak. Good brothers. I've been a bad brother to my brother. I have a brother. I've been a bad brother. Part of the reason I've been a bad brother is because I've been a bad person. I did not want my good brother hurt. He's a good guy. He's got a couple daughters. I have a couple nieces. I've met one of them twice. I'm sure she wouldn't even remember me at all, except for whatever they say. That's probably the way it should be, because I'm kind of a bad person. But I know I'm a good soul, and I know I have the capacity for a great spirit. My greatest prayer for my brother was that he wouldn't be like me, you know? And he's not. Thank God. Thank fucking God. And I wish even though he's like more well adjusted, or at least he presents himself as more adjusted, but yet we are a little bit the way we present ourselves, aren't we? Yet, if I harbor darker demons, it's also like, yes, the light and darkness do occupy the same place, but it depends what we mean by light, and it depends what we mean by darkness. You know, because there's the darkness of the dark, but there's also the darkness of the light. What is the darkness of the light? You know what it is. Your authentic sadness on scales large and small. Anyway, I had about 18 hours worth of stuff going in here over the last couple hours, and the harmonics of the collapsing nows have been just fucking brutal. And since my prophecy protocol video, it's been the same symbols. Like the symbol I described there, it keeps happening. And like at least half the videos I've made since then, was because those collapsing nows, and it doesn't matter if I'm listening to people around me. It doesn't matter if I'm thinking a certain word when I see something and there's a collision. It doesn't matter if I'm listening to NPR or if I'm listening to like popular commercial radio or if I'm watching a YouTube video or even listening to myself. It just keeps down on the same symbol. Now, a symbol, one of the ways people always talk about symbols and signs. I have a hard time. I've had a hard time with that. But today I had my first visceral. So this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. Well, it wasn't the first thing, but it was the first and a half thing between the second thing, which I got to talk about, which I'm gonna talk about, which has to do with King David and the fucking I'm gonna kill it. Sorry for saying it like that. But like a symbol is what I have not heard it expressed this way, but like a symbol and a sign. A symbol is what is presented to you. A sign is what you see on your own without influence that relates to the symbol shown. And that's what ties together the symbol and the sign. So I've had a symbolic now collapse. And it keeps being the same symbol. The symbol in the outside world. When I see something and I hear something and they collide in the same symbol. And it's just been that white on white, white on white. That glob on that straight. That finger on that narrow. That glob on the straight, the finger on the narrow. Like that's been the symbol. The white on white. The white on the white, but the flat on the gloss on the flat, the black on the black, the flat on the gloss. Like that's been the symbol over and over and over again since before my prophecy protocol videos, right? And it just keeps collapsing, hammering down, like collapses upon collapses. So you get this collapse, but then you get this collapse, and then you get this collapse, and then you get this collapse, and then you get this collapse. But they're all happening at the same time, or in the same space over time, etc. What was my point? Am I even going to get to my second first point? I know I'm going to get, okay, so I'll get to my second point first. Symbolic breakdown, super easy. Kill shot. In symbolism, in the mythos, because that's the whole deal with the mythos and the logos. Oh, that was my other thing. All right. That was the third thing I didn't even mention yet. I don't know if I'll get back to the second, second thing. But Amun. Amen. Amun-Ra. The temple of Amun. Amun. The whole idea with like a lot to do with phonetics is the cancellation of vowels or different ways vowels can be pronounced, and there, let's not say we preserve the consonants, but there's less deterioration among the consonants. It's almost like the vowels are, as well, they should be the gas, while the consonants are more like a solid, phonetically. If you don't understand that, don't blame you. Forget it. Get to the easy shit. Here's the easy shit. The Temple of Amun. Amun is associated with ammonia. when we think of all these like high-minded, godlike folk, we never take into consideration, or even when we think about God, right? Every hemorrhoid, every venereal disease, every time you fall on your butt and someone laughs at you, right? Every time a dog eats a clump of poop, like, it's all under God, and it's not unimportant, and we can chuckle about it as a defense mechanism. Same way we might chuckle or cringe or tingle a little bit when we see someone who's really, really old, or when we see someone who's crippled. Well, we could see someone very young with an amputation or a hole in their throat. And feel that. Right? Same way we might feel when we look at someone old, or of a different race, or of a different culture. We just get that. Doesn't make us bad people. It's something we're not associated with. So forgive yourself now for all of those things. And not just now, because it's not going to go away. Think of the things you're not supposed to think about, the people you're not supposed to hate. Think of the things that the people you're not supposed to hate and who you don't hate. If you think about the things that the people who hate those people, whoever comes to your mind, someone who's hated is coming to your mind right now. Think about what the people say who hate those people. Those people. Now forget that. It's kind of like in The Secret when they say, don't think of your refrigerator. It'll kill you. There's no bottom. There's no bottom to that darkness. The best you can do and it's gonna fucking fill up again. And then you just go, and you go, and you go, and you go. And that's the best you can do. At least until all that dross is burnt off. But not everyone sustains resurrection. I most likely won't. But nothing I sustain matters if I don't. But if I don't, I'm going to give what I have so that someone may. So that someday everyone may. Forever and ever. Eternity. All right. King David. The Temple of Amun is associated with ammonia. Supposedly, it was called the Temple of Amun because the ammoniated camel piss accumulated in the sands outside of the temple. The Temple of Amun is literally associated with camel piss, which is very ammoniated. What else is? So there's a Temple of Amun, there's a pyramid, and then there's the Sphinx, who most typically we associate with a cat, a lion, cat piss, ammonia. The Temple of Amun. Where was the piss that the camels pissed in? Now this has to do, and this goes back to India, with some of their quote-unquote hieroglyphic sculptures, quote-unquote hieroglyphic relief and just flat-out sculptures. There's a certain level upon these large towers of Indian from India towers. There's a certain place where it's all sexual symbolism. It's almost like in what's that type of stone called? That's all layered. But it's like that. There's like this band of sexual symbolism. And if you can't get beyond it, you can't get the symbolism beyond it because you're still trapped in the body. I am still trapped in the body. But I know enough about this stuff because I've studied enough that I understand it, and I understand that in Terry Goodkind it was called a shield. And there are true magical energetic fields, but there are also strictly psychological trick shields. However, because everything is energetic, it's still an energetic field, even if we interact with it pragmatically as a psychological force, right? So this comes back to symbolism, because when we talk about the phallic symbols in art and virginal symbols in art and all this stuff, and we put all these terms on these pedestals, but then the shield becomes the grossness of it. Yet we aspire in other aspects of our lives to this supposed intellectual grossness. Now, I'm not endorsing being the very pervert that I've been in my life, right? And I don't mean that in a criminal way. I just mean that in just the regular old, everyday, fill in the blanks on your own. There's a lot I could say. And once again, there's no bottom. There's no satiation for that lust. None. And I know that. As crinkly as I am now, there was a day. And I'm sad for it. But I wouldn't condemn you for it. I wouldn't even necessarily tell you not to do it. Some people say, don't do it, you will feel regret. I can't really say that. But what I can say is, when you feel the regret, remember some of the things maybe me or someone else said to you. So anyway, that vulgar symbolism runs throughout the last 12,000 years. And if you're not willing to consider vulgar symbolism, you're not necessarily willing to consider the God who acts perfectly within the realm of the butterfly effect that still allows free will. So it's a perfect harmony up to the point of collective free will. The perfection of God cannot exceed the accumulated sum of free will. Anyway, Temple of Amun, ammonia, camel piss. They piss on the ground where they put their toes, camel toe. That's right, I said it. But if you don't like it, watch the movie Weatherman, and you'll be like, fuck right, camel toe. And then, that's a cat. Because it's a pussy. I said it. But if you're not willing to deal with that symbolism, you think I'm degrading women? Every woman is degraded. Every woman is degraded. And the bearded women, the hairy women, when was the last time you saw a woman with a big old fat hairy armpit or a mustache, hairy legs? You think women just get little hairs when they're old and that's the extent of it? You think it's funny? I did when I saw it, on Kingpin when old grandma got some little fuzzy beard. That's funny? That's not funny. That's the situation. That is, if you could boil the situation down to one thing, which you can't, when Jack Nicholson said, oh, The Shining is scary, right? If you saw a bearded woman with hairy legs and big old hairy armpits, I'm talking fucking Chewbacca, right? And when I say you, I also mean me. I know that I would have that physical response, and I know it's wrong. And I know that I'm Pavlovianized, right? Listen, we are all Pavlov's dogs, right? And that's what all the conspiracy theory shit tries to get us into. Now step outside of that and use your reason. If you saw a hairy woman with a big old mustache and a big beard, hairy armpits, hairy legs, hairy back, and otherwise completely gorgeous, right? The perfect, the bling, the blam, totally like athletic, whatever, but if you saw all that hair, man, you'd freak out. Even if you kept your composure, like in public, inside, it would be like, yet, if you run over a squirrel, if you buy some meat in the supermarket, which is hacked up fucking flesh, you'd be like, right? Me too. And I'm a vegan, and I see meat in the grocery store, and I'm like, But like step on a spider and it's like, oh no! Which is like kind of like Jainism. But they do kind of take it too far because there's not a pragmatic in that. It hurts more people than it helps. Except for aesthetically, helps a lot of people. Good for you, Janus. Anyway. Are we self-driving cars? How about a bloodless road? How about bloodless tar? You think that don't matter on a quantum scale? But only we can do that. The deer have to spend a lot of time on my ass is grass. At this point in America, it's pretty well ingrained in the DNA, in the meat, or at least in the epigenetics. It's ingrained. Like, if you're a deer, one of your primary pragmatic thought forms is my ass is grass. I hear something, I'm out of here. Maybe if we weren't always unnecessarily hacking them to pieces in front of their kin, maybe that would change. Anyway. See, I can't even, how long has this been? Half an hour. It's been a half an hour and I still haven't even said, I was going to do something simple for once and it didn't happen. But I'm gonna try to remind myself to commit that I'm gonna try to cut in between steps out. I'm gonna try to be more real. If I'm just like, I call this jamming, give me a break. I work all day, I come home, I've had a gazillion ideas for like monetization and return. What do they call that? Return. Like if you write a book, residual income, investments, residual income. Man, I knew about Bitcoin back before Bitcoin was Bitcoin. I didn't invest. I knew it was going to be big, and I didn't invest. What an idiot! It's almost like I'm more principled than I should be. In some aspects. In other aspects, I'm completely unprincipled, a complete degenerate. And once again, I'll reference my previous perversion, much as Saint Jerome referenced his dreams of dancing girls, or Dali's painting of the something of, what is it, Saint Anthony. I don't know nothing about that, but I know that painting. Right? Some decrepit old dude with this window of bodily voluptuousness falling over him. From the east, no less. But anyway, yeah, so I've been all over the place, but it should be noted this is actually solid. Temple of Amun, Amun-Ra, camel piss, ammonia, where the camels are tied up outside the Temple of Amun, they piss ammonia where they put their feet. Camel toe, pussy, cat. And if you're in Egypt, who's the cat? The Sphinx. And if you're Abrahamic, people always say Judeo-Christian. People never say Judeo-Islamic, because there's Judeo-Islamic, Judeo-Christian, all Abrahamic. What completes that circle? The 12 Shia of Islam, which are Judeo-Christian, Abrahamic. Wait, Judeo-Abrahamic, Judeo-Christian, Islamic. That's huge. The Shia, 12ers, 3% of Islam, is the Abrahamic, Judeo-Christian, Islamic. 4 points, 3 and 1, a tetrahedron. Holy Ghost. Anyway. Amun. The Temple of Amun. Amen. Amun-Ra. Amun? Amun. Aton? Amun, the Temple of Amun. Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra. Amen. Ra. Amun-Ra. Camels were tied up outside on a stick, like the horses, at the hitching post. Down at the hitching post. Where they piss. Ammonia. Some piss smells like uric acid, some smells like ammonia, which has to do with the base, and that's super important. That has to do with the whole base versus acid pH deal, and the whole deal of like body alkalinity. But why? Because then it has to do with salt and iron, right? Alkalinity is more acidic, more disease, but does it depend on which cell salt we use to oxygenate the blood, so to speak, or to help, or because it's the rusting of the iron of the blood that brings the oxygen, right? And we know acidity and we know salt. You could say accelerates, or you could say regulates that oxygen transfer. But like, what other cell salts affect that oxygenation differently? Never mind what type of oxygen. And even though, so they say, most ozone is bad for human beings, there's a certain type of ozone that is good for us. And it does have a certain smell. It has a certain smell. What if all of the world was that type of ozone? That's teleology. That's magic. That is the Omega Points want. And if we don't get there, we're fucked. But anyway. And when I say we, I mean we. Maybe you, maybe me, I don't know. But the Omega Point will have as many of us there, knowing we'll all be there. And some of us will be, and some of us will be, and that's it. And I don't care if I'm, because I already know there's going to be so many people. And what matters is that as much as possible is Temple of ammonia, piss, ammoniated, just like cat piss, litter box, ammoniated, pussy, cat. What's a cat do? They yowl. And I wouldn't have figured this out if I hadn't watched back 11, 12 years ago, maybe more, that Genghis Blues back when Netflix still mailed out DVDs. Remember that? It's kind of like before, nobody ever talks about Google Video anymore. It used to be Google Video. YouTube used to they only used to let you do 10 minutes back in like 2006-ish, give or take. 10 minutes. Now you can do forever because, well, YouTube consolidated with Google Videos, even though maybe it was the other way around and then Google Videos just took YouTube's name. I don't know how the paperwork goes, but I downloaded on my old computer a couple of Google Videos with my Google Video Player. Took forever. Had it over dial-up, AOL. But the yowl of the cat. And that's related to King David. Why? Line of Judah. Tribe of Judah. Man, I hope I'm getting my history right. But I am. Even if I'm not, I am. That's kind of how the whole teleological thing works. Because the truth has a certain ring to it. The line of Judah. The lion has to do with the Sphinx. Has to do with cat piss. That's why it's the pyramid. That's why it's Amun-Ra. And that's why it's the Sphinx, which even though some people say is Anubis, that's all cool. Some people say, well, it was carved to the face of a man from a dog or from a cat, whatever. That's all cool. But we all know that the Sphinx with them fucking paws. Yeah, I get the whole dog star thing, serious, all that. But the way it's come to us is as a cat, as a lion. It's a big old motherfucker in Africa. What kind of cat is it? It's a lion. Right? Cat piss. Camel piss. Amun. Amun-Ra. Ammonia. Sometimes your feet might smell like uric acid. Sometimes your feet might smell like ammonia. Sometimes they might smell like cheese, and then you're back to the bull worship. But all that shit out there with the animals has to do with the microbiota in our own body, our gut chemistry, and all that. And that's what a lot of the whole Kemetin thing is, even though, it's like Kemetin ain't Kemetin. It's like Hindu ain't Hindu. There's one fucking story. Christianity ain't Christianity, all this. There's one fucking story. But what I will say, what I have to say about Christianity, even though, I think I'm talking to my whiteness, Jesus weren't white. Period. Jesus weren't white. I mean, I don't know how dark he was, but he weren't fucking white, right? He might have been lighter than the Magi. And he may have had blue eyes. Blue eyes came about with dark folk 10,000 years ago, So they say. But anyway, the special thing about him or about that person, now, do I even know it was a him? I don't. Because people say he wasn't, or they say he was, or they say he represents a symbol of the past. Put all that shit together. People say, oh, it's this, this, or this. Or people say it's this or this, these two. And if you say it's these two, it's this or this. Put it all together. You need to reconcile ideas. The way those three ideas come together as one set against two ideas, as three, is shit went down for a real long time before he ever came, he or she. He and she. Shit went down for a long time, and it was real, but it got told funny. And then something really real happened, and it kept getting told a little funny. And here we are. That's how you put it together. What's that mean? It means something special happened then. And people are all like, oh, it's the apocalypse, it's the Armageddon, it's the Revelation, it's this, that, whatever. Now, there is going to be a fake hoedown. But the real hoedown's going on. I wrote it one time, somewhere. It's like Gandalf sneaking into the end of a I won't even say Tony Blair because I think he really is actual real magic. Or wait, no, not Tony Blair. What the heck's that guy's name? He used to date Fiona Apple. He's the one who I think's a real magician. But anyway, if you take Gandalf and put him in a Siegfried and Roy? I'm mixing up my terms bad today. Okay, so you take Gandalf and put him, Gandalf walks in the room at the finale of the Penn and Teller show. That's what's going on. The bad dudes thinks it's a Penn and Teller show. But Gandalf's running the whole fucking gig. Emu. Temple of the Moon, Amun-Ra. Camel piss, ammoniated. Camel toe. Pussy, cat. Sphinx. Cat, lion. Big cat in Africa, lion. Lion of Judah. David. A sweet song. Sweet song that pleases the Lord. A yowl. Stacked harmonics. That's it. Sorry if it's anticlimactic. The yowl. The owl? The yowl. I can't do it no more. But I can do this. Now, there's something else I was talking about that I got to today, that I thought I wanted to get to. Those other couple points, that was one of the points. It took me 48 minutes to say something 30 seconds long. But yeah, it is that simple. Amun, Amun-Ra. Temple of Amun-Ra, camel strapped outside. Ammoniated piss. Camel toe, pussy, cat. It relies on teleology to break this code. If we rely on philology alone, we won't get there. It relies upon the fact that there's an endpoint, that there's a pull of linguistics. Just as there's a pull of gravity, we're falling to the future. We're falling to the future. And language falls to the future, or rises if down is up. If down is up, we're falling with our feet to the future. Or we're rising upside down, like a bunch of vampires, to the future. I wish I could remember the rest of it, but yeah, in symbolism, when you get something right, same in math, it's a kill shot. So, if you've ever seen anything die, there wasn't a climactic moment to this kill shot. But yeah, if you've ever seen anything die, then you know there's most of the time no climax. There's no soundtrack. It just